You're listening to The Stall and Stable Show, ideas for happy horsekeeping.
We're talking technology today, as I welcome two guests who join me to share the news about their exciting new software for stable management in the U.S. Software for business owners in the equine industry has been slow to join the marketplace, but this new program is something to be excited about. EC Pro, a popular platform in the UK, rolls out their specialized version for US customers this fall, and we're going to find out about how this app can save barn owners time, money, and headaches. So listen in. This is episode 128, brought to you by American Stalls. Today is Wednesday, October 25th, 2023. I'm your host, Helena Harris. I'm delighted to share information about a new product in the equine marketplace today. But before we get started with this conversation, I want to tell you about American Stalls. Your horses deserve the best. That's why I partnered with and recommend investing in stable components and accessories from American Stalls. Their products are made from the highest quality materials, best practices in construction, and are designed to provide your horses with the safety, comfort, and well-being they deserve in their home. To find what's best for your horses, shop American Stalls online. You can find them at americanstalls.com. EC Pro is an equestrian client, staff, and barn management software package that was founded in the UK in 2017. Founder Jamie Arnold, who joins me today, noticed that the riding school system was upside down. Like we needed someone else to tell us that. Jamie found himself standing in long lines, waiting to book riding lessons for his daughter, while the staff ran around in a constant hurry to accommodate the growing crowd of customers, right? We've seen that. We've all been there. Well, it occurred to him that booking a lesson shouldn't be that hard. It should be as easy as booking a flight, hotel, Uber. I mean, that's kind of where the world is going right now. Why should equestrian business owners be left behind? That was the question that gave birth to EC Pro. The software is a cloud-based solution that gives riding schools and equestrian facilities complete control over their business operations and their bookings, while also providing customers with the digital experience and modern convenience they expect. So we are dragging all of you kicking and screaming into the 21st century for good this time. Joining me today are two folks. The founder of EC Pro, Jamie Arnold, and Russell Dawes, the president of EC Pro US. So Russell and his team are responsible for tweaking the EC Pro platform so it is perfectly customized and suitable for the US marketplace. Without further ado, let's welcome Jamie and Russell to the show. Good morning to Jamie and Russell. Thanks for joining me on Stall and Stable.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks.
So I'm a geek. And I grew up in tech and software development. So I'm always keeping an eye out on what is coming into the market, into the equestrian market. And I got a news release not that long ago about this cool new platform called EC Pro. So I did a little bit of digging and I got excited. So let's start with telling our listeners what EC Pro is and what prompted you to bring this product to the US market.
Sure. So I'll take the first part, Russell. So EC Pro is a fully realized equestrian management system. So fundamentally launched with online booking in mind, but not just any online booking. It is very, very clever. So it takes numerous factors into account because, of course, when somebody's booking something that includes animals, it can't just be book it. It's got to take weight into account, height, the rider's ability, would the horse done too much exercise, and therefore taking frustration out of the booking process, whereby it will only ever present things that are appropriate to book. So you never go, yes, I'd love to do that. It's a great time. Get to your basket. Oh, no, you can't. Or to be called by the barn to say you can't do it. Our system prevents all of that at source. So it is as far as we're aware, the only one on the market that actually does that. It kind of started with that in mind. And then, of course, it exponentially grew into all other different facets, horse management and welfare, invoicing for customers, managing extra services that they might ask you to do, event entries, staff time management, holiday and sickness recording, customer management. It really is endless. Essentially, if you're thinking of something that can say, okay, digitally, how can I manage my business or run my business? This can do everything from A to Z, including accounts integration.
That's a lot of data points. And so now I'm even more excited because the very first thing you talked about, the variables that go along with using horses for these appointments. Everyone else just kind of blocks off time, and whether that's the resource time, but they fail to take into account how many times that horse had been ridden, or if he needs a few days off, etc. Way back when, I managed a lesson program and I used a whiteboard and colored markers, and I couldn't live without that, because the colored markers told everybody who was looking at this data that only these horses are available today, or these horses are matched up with these riders or these instructors. And it was such an efficient way to communicate, the core of our business. So to see someone actually put that in digital form, well, I can't contain myself. That's just how excited I
am. It gets better, actually. We're working on a piece of our own homegrown artificial intelligence that will also take into account how many times the rider's ridden a horse in the past. Have they ever had any accidents? Do they match temperaments? So when it's weighting its scoring matrix in the background, it's about 94% accurate at the moment. It will be extremely accurate.
Okay, so you're the real deal. And this answers the question, why did you bring this to the US market? I think I have an idea as to why, because there is nothing like this, is there?
Not as far as we're aware, no. Of all the research we've done, I mean, this is 2 years in the making, really, for us. So a lot of research has happened, certainly from Russell's team. So as far as we're aware, no. In fact, on the planet, not just the US. So
yeah. Well, tell us about your background with horses.
So my background, I've ridden horses since I was 4. I started on a Shetland pony. And then as I worked my way up, I worked on, we call them yards here in the UK, not barns. And I was a yard boy. So I'd help out in the yard, learn how it all works. And then, unfortunately, later in life, my daughter got involved and, of course, wanted a pony, right? As a big mistake on my part. But several £1,000s down the line, here we are. But it was,
when you said unfortunately, I thought there was some bad news coming.
I was told by a parent the other day, I'm going to buy this pony for my daughter. It's the first one. I said, don't do it. Just don't do it. It's too late.
Okay, so especially getting started with Shetland ponies, you understand all of the things that we have to account for so that we stay upright.
Yeah, and just how difficult it is, right? Everyone knows, everybody that's listening will know just how tough it is to run a barn or a yard. There's so many facets that have to be taken into account. If you can even take 20% of that load off, right, that is a huge benefit for anyone. So with our system, I'd like to think we're taking 60, 70% off of your workload. So it's even more benefit.
So I want to ask specific questions about how the product helps the riding professional in particular, the boarding barn owner in particular, or the yard owner. But before I get to that, I want to ask you how because this thing can be so huge, or because it is so involved and there's so many data points, how do you make it user-friendly?
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's a complicated beast for a complicated thing that we're trying to cater for. So the whole design from the beginning was to arrive somewhere with no more than 2 clicks. So whatever you wanted to do, you must get there within 2 clicks. So that's why we present the menu as we are. And we're in the process of actually, we're naming it V2. It's not quite a version 2, but a whole new refresh of the user interface, which will allow users to have their own menu. So whatever pages they go to that are most important to them, so they don't have to use our menu that we provide, they can have their own experience. I think also the whole point of frustration, if whenever we develop or whenever we build, even if we're sat with a customer for research purposes, if at any point we're trying to get from A to B and something occurs in the middle that will frustrate one of us, we have to change it. So we have developed this thing. It wasn't just like an idea that, well, it was an idea that we had, but of course we actually used centers, understanding the level of technical nous that people may or may not have. So we tried to do our best, but of course there are so many facets to it. But the whole restriction of restricting. So, for example, say you're a barn owner, you can see everything, right? It could be really complicated. But for a barn manager or maybe a barn rat, essentially what you can do there is show them exactly what you want them to do and nothing else. So they might only have 3 items that they can click anyway. So we try our best to make it as simple as we can.
So user level restrictions, which is kind of best practice when you have different job functions accessing the same piece of software.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not just for like security purposes. In this case, it is for user experience as well, because you've got every single menu item up. That could be overwhelming when actually all they need to do is add a horse record.
So how does EC Pro benefit, let's say, a riding professional, someone who competes at, an FEI competitor, 4-star, 5-star level? These people are super busy, but they really need something that they can take with them everywhere they go.
That's a tough one. So the only thing it will do for somebody like that, so that's someone who doesn't own a barn, doesn't teach, they may just have a couple of horses that they need to manage the horse's welfare, like record keeping and stuff. It will do that. Of course, it can be quite overkill for someone like that, right? And that's not necessarily our target market as such. A good example would be, say there's a barn manager, it will run everything on the barn, but maybe that barn manager takes people to shows. So maybe they're away for 3 weeks with some of their customers and their boarding horses or whatever. It can help manage all of that. So whilst you're at a show, they need to be billed because it's just had to have a bute injection or something like that, or it had to have an extra bale of hay or whatever the case may be. You can do all of that on the app. So it does come with a native app, which is on iPhone and on Android. So it's designed much more for quick access stuff on the go. But it's very important to note the whole platform is mobile responsive. So you don't have to use the app if you want the full experience.
Oh, good. Riding professionals don't operate in a vacuum. They typically have a barn and a barn manager. But at the end of the day, a more organized barn is going to free up the professional to do what he or she does best, which is ride and train. So I think you answered the question about how the app helps the boarding barn owner. Can you give us just a couple of key features? What are going to be the heaviest used components of the app?
So I would imagine billing for things. So with our system, let's just say the farrier's coming and the farrier's due to see 5 horses. They're all my boarders' horses. I can create a list. And in that list, we'll have the horses that are due to see him and a done button next to each of their names. Now, all I need to do is click done. If there is an amount in there, I can click to invoice the customer at the same time. But when I click done, it will go and add the record to the horse to when it had it. It will automatically set up when it's next due it, put any reminders you've asked it for, and it will do a profit and loss account with one click of a button on this list. This list is completely customizable. So whatever you want to record against the horse, you can put in. So worming, vaccinations, feed, bedding, hay, whatever it is. And then you can create a list for it and say it's done and off you go. But what you can also do is create a task. So say you had a set pattern every Tuesday, you need to parrow the arena and give this vaccination to this horse. You can create those tasks for up to a year in advance and repeat them and allocate them to your staff members. Your staff members on the app then will have a task list that they need to do that day. When they click done, let's just say it does pertain to doing something with a horse that I need to record. All they do is, I've done the task, and it automatically adds the record to the horse as well. So it takes a lot of that workload off. Now, of course, as the barn manager, they're sitting there thinking, have they done it? So you can see in real time if they have, but you also get notified when they have as well.
Is it possible to push to your users' phones or your staff, your team, who's ever using this? Is it possible to push to their phones the daily tasks or a daily to-do list or notification? So My staff is already there. I'm going to get to the barn at whatever, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Is it possible for me to kind of push a task list out to that team ahead of time?
Yeah, so the tasks, assuming you're super organized and you've set all your tasks up that generally take place or the night before you've done it, when your staff arrive, that day will show the tasks to do that day. And as they do them, it clears off of their task list and then you get told. So theoretically, you shouldn't really have any involvement other than creating the task itself and allocating it to somebody. However, like let's say a boarder, at the moment, they might call you and say, oh, can you do this with my horse? Well, they can request that on the app. What that does is it will automatically create a task for all the staff members. Whoever acknowledges it, it gets assigned to, that person can manage it, and then it's all dealt with automatically as well.
Super. That's super. But yet everybody knows about it and everybody knows it's being handled. So exactly. It's this sort of subtle communication tool as well. So customer relationships, task, everything. What have you heard from your current users? What kind of feedback have they given to you? What's the most popular compliment that the app gets right now?
So the key thing for us, and it was our whole methodology from the beginning, was exceptional customer service. So whatever problems occur, as they will, because it's essentially a skeletal system that is built up per barn or yard, because they all work differently, it is the customer service in the response time. So we generally respond no longer than a minute. The most popular comment is how great our customer service is. There's no doubt about it. I wouldn't sit here and say it's not going to be easy, because it won't be, because you're transitioning from maybe something on paper or a totally manual process that you've been used to for years. And all of a sudden you got this upstart from North London telling you, no, you got to do it this way. So the ones that truly want a change and want to improve their situation always throw everything in the kitchen sink at it. You've got to go in 100%, otherwise it won't work. If you're going in half-assed and essentially you're only going to put a little bit of effort, you might have these people book in and then these people still paying you. What is the point? Point is, I want to prove that it's going to save you so much time. Now, in the UK, it can be slightly different, but we have age ranges vary dramatically. But let's just say someone might assume, I'm an elderly person, I'm not tech savvy at all. We have found that is the exact opposite, because in the UK, we have quite a few older customers that use the system. And they do throw everything at it because they do want to improve what they've been doing for the last 20 years. Works perfectly. We've got some insane statistics I could share with you about the increases in revenue alone, but I won't bore you with all of that.
Well, we'll have to do another episode on that, because that is Stall and Stable's specialty. We help these folks do projections, take their assumptions and turn them into a really nice looking cash flow worksheet, which is a problem that plagues the industry. I don't know how prevalent this problem is in the UK, but in the US, the complaint is you can't make money in horses. And my argument is you sure can. You just need to look at those numbers, or you need to track them. Or, as you say, you need to go all in and decide that this is your business and you need to run it as efficiently as possible. But in talking about the differences between the UK and Europe and the US, I'm seeing that there are a lot of differences in many different areas. And so, Russell, maybe you can talk about this a little bit. How do you see this rolling out in the US? Where are you starting? What are you going to be going to trade shows? You're doing demos. Tell us about your strategy for helping the American market embrace this.
Yeah, sure. And you can tell your listeners by my accent, I live in the south part of the UK. So, no, I'm kidding. I live in Memphis, Tennessee. It's a cool story how we found Jamie. I've been in the software SaaS world for the last 25 years in the financial side. And down here in Memphis, we have a friend of mine. She has a large equestrian center. And she reached out to these local guys that I know saying, hey, can you build me up some software to help me run this thing? And they were like, well, we probably could, but let's see if we can find something. And they went out and found Jamie's product over in the UK. And Jamie actually has a handful of clients already over here in the US that we interviewed when we got started on this thing. But as you can see, you're getting excited as we started looking at what Jamie had and the impact he's had in the UK. He just basically owns the addressable market over there. We started getting kind of excited because the addressable market here is about 10 times what his is. So we started looking into it. My first question to Jamie was like, how come you guys haven't expanded in the US already? And he says, we're fine over here. We love what we're doing. And they actually have clients over here. So they teamed up with us, and us being, there's a couple of companies here together in Memphis that we have everything from front office, middle office, back office. We got HR, marketing, sales. We do a lot of consulting and helping smaller businesses grow. So this is a little different. I originally came on board just to be a consultant on the revenue side for the sales and marketing client success piece. And they finally just asked me, why don't you just run this thing? We got to grow it from scratch. Why don't you just go with it? So to answer your question, the first thing we did, we interviewed Jamie's existing clients, and they all absolutely love his product. There's a few things they don't like about it, which is only the UK terminologies and things like that. But even they've worked around that. And the thing that kind of blew me away was how non-competitive this equestrian world is. With each other. They were like, hey, this is awesome. And I know all the equestrian centers within 100 miles of my place. I'd love to tee you up and get you going with them. So all of them are crazy about it. And so, all of them. The feedback we got for improvements to the product was negligible and stuff that's not that hard to do. So what we're in the process of doing, we've built a US platform, and we're basically copying everything Jamie's done, and we're going to put it on a US platform. And the one thing the existing clients love is we're obviously, the time zone is going to change. We'll have client service that they can reach as quickly, like what Jamie said, but we're in the US time zones. I'm in the process. I've got someone that's helping me on the marketing side. I've just hired a couple of salespeople. We got an offer out for a customer service rep, and that role, we insisted, per Jamie's suggestion, has to know the equestrian world like the back of their hand. And it was amazing how many applicants we got that are out there that saw it, that went to college we got degrees in equine and really wanted to get into this. So we're putting the team together. I went up to one show up in Wisconsin just to kind of check it out this summer. I was blown away. It's like 250,000 people came through this thing over a period of 3 days. And I walked up and down every booth, and there was no one offering any kind of software to do anything. So that was exciting. We're going to be at the CHA conference out in Colorado in October. We're going to be at a big show right outside of Boston in November. So we're all in. We're the platform should be up and running around the 1st of October. And so Q4 of this year, we'll do the shows, and we've already got social media. We just hired a digital marketing firm. We blew up our LinkedIn pages. We're all in.
All right. That show that's up in the Boston area is Equine Affair. That's a big one. It's a great one. Your timing is perfect. I'll see you there. You have the infrastructure that goes along with not just an app, but with a solution, with an industry-wide solution. And, maybe 20 years ago, horses were a hobby. Yeah, it's always been an industry, but it's bona fide now. And not only is the outside world kind of looking at us as a real industry, but within our riders, our professionals, our horse keepers, our barn owners are starting to look at themselves or consider themselves as professionals. And now they're starting to reach out for the tools that other professionals have always used to leverage their business and to be efficient. Again, I'm really excited, mostly because, I've tried several different software packages, apps, programs, and I get excited about each one. And every time I just sort of go, wah, wah, wah. Mostly it's from the usability side. Again, hope springs eternal. I'm excited about this one because you do have so many thoughtful data points in this. So I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to try it. For now, I know you're going to be everywhere, but for now, where can our listeners find out more about the product?
Yeah, we've launched our website. It's ecpro.us. We're all over social media. We've got an Instagram page. We've got a Facebook page. Our website right now is a little more than a splash page until we finish the platform. You can look at Jamie's website, which is ours is going to mirror that. He's ecpro.uk. And it's pretty much the exact same thing. So someone can go in there and he's got videos and he's got everything that you can get a really good sense of the whole product. And then within the next 30 to 60 days, it'll all be transferred over here and we'll do exactly what he's doing, but in the US side.
Super. So for listeners, if you can't remember all of that, not to worry. You can go up to Stall and Stable. I will put links to all things EC Pro, both UK and US, in this episode's show notes. My thanks to both Jamie and Russell for joining me today. I know it was a little bit of a challenge to get us together, so I'm grateful for your time.
No, thank you for having us.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks a lot.
If you're a business owner in the equestrian industry and would like more information about EC Pro, go to stallandstable.com and look up episode 128 show notes. And if you need help with your business or your private farm, please feel free to get in touch with me. You can find me at stallandstable.com and click on the contact link. Send me a message with your questions, thoughts, or ideas, and I'll be happy to sit down and talk with you about them. Many thanks to American Stalls for supporting the Stall and Staple podcast. I encourage you to check out their online catalog of beautiful stall components and accessories. You can find them online at americanstalls.com. And that's going to be a wrap for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it.